What is up, EoP sports fans? It's Wednesday night. It's a little after 8:30. It's time for EoP. I'm Big Al.
And I'm Joe Sheeran.
All right, guys, welcome in tonight. We got plenty to talk about. Joe, I'm going to just swing right into it with you. As we all know, and I'm not going to try to rehash the whole Niners game as much. I know we're kind of like Wednesday, so we're kind of looking past it now. Looking past.
Sure.
But Joe, your reactions. I mean, I'm sure I have an idea what they are, but overall, your feels on the Niners Eagles debacle, if you want to call it that.
Before I jump into that, I want to give a big kudos to you on your show last week with Phil and Sean Brace. Top notch, dude. Really great show. Really enjoyed watching it. I called it Friday night once the kids went to bed and everything was settled, and I had a nice drink and I watched you go to work, and it was awesome, man. Awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it as always.
Now with the Niners,
not such a good product.
No, I mean, it just seemed like, all right, the first two drives, they get down there. Unfortunately, they have to settle for field goals. They can't punch it in. And either way, you still have a good feeling because the Niners come out and they're flat. The defense is rolling. That first quarter for the Eagles really kind of set the tone of what we thought we were going to see for the rest of the game. And that is just not what happened. I don't know if the Niners just went back on that sideline and decided to get into another gear. But there was not many mistakes from Brock Purdy and the 49ers the rest of that game. We cannot say that much about the Eagles. As you know, my headspace was a little bit outside of football that day. I'm not going to get too much into it, but it was like one of those days where it was like if it was any other week, I would have been beside myself, smoke coming out the ears, pulling my beard hair out. But it was one of those days where it was like, you know what, dude, it's a game. They're, if they lose, if they come back and win, great. If they lose, that sucks. But it's on to next week in Dallas and everything. And I will say this, they wanted it more than the Eagles did. The Niners players, I should say. They wanted it more. They came into a hostile environment, the link where they lost the NFC Championship last year, and they just wanted it more. They went out and they kicked the Eagles' asses. And I look at it this way. It's almost like a learning experience for the season for them because they've been skating by the past 4 or 5 weeks, beating really good teams, but not doing it in the fashion of which we want the Eagles to go out and win, in said fashion. I think this is good for them. I think it takes them back to the drawing board. You saw the fans outside of NovaCare saying, run the ball. 9 attempts last week, ain't cutting it. Nope. I think it's a good wake-up call. I really do. You heard the comments from Brandon Graham saying he's like they, whoever you want to kind of paraphrase it to, they're happy that they got their asses whooped because they know what they need to go in and fix. And maybe they just, were thinking that they were going to skate by this week. I don't know, but the Niners are for real. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant.
Can we stop calling him that now?
Yeah, I think you have to. The guy jumped up to the lead in the MVP race, still plus 300. Last week before that, Jalen was at plus 150. So even though it was a pretty big swing, Brock Purdy still, the top of the MVP can switch really quickly. But listen, the Niners, they're going to end up probably coming back here in the playoffs. And I honestly look at it like to beat that team 3 times in a row going back to the NFC Championship, the odds were not there. So if you're going to lose one of the games, why not lose the one that doesn't matter? They're 10-2. They lost the game and they fell out of first place in the first place. They still have the best record in the league. There's not much for us to boo-hoo about here.
No, and listen, I think it wasn't just a loss. It was the matter of the loss, just the shellacking that this team took, which makes it difficult. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Mitch. Guys, check out Mitch on Thursday. Actually, if you haven't had enough of me tonight, I'm actually going to be guesting on Mitch's show tomorrow, talking about the Eagles-Dallas matchup. So, guys, check out Mitch. But right now, if you're also watching the Sixers game like Joe and I are, as well as talking to you, Sixers are up 99-95 with the Wizards. This game is just like a walkthrough for them, and it's closer than it should be. Let's just put it that way. But we'll get in a little Sixers talk shortly in a moment. But yeah, Joe, I mean, I agree with pretty much all the points that you said there. You know, I don't want to go cliche, but it is sounding a little cliche by saying, you know, they need a little bit of a reality slap. It's not going to be as easy. You're not Lady Luck is not always going to be on your side.
All right.
But I don't also think this team is as bad as everybody's put out there. Yes, they saw some flaws. Yes, they're going to learn it. Maybe you're going to run the ball more. Yes, they upgraded. I'm not saying they've upgraded to a superstar linebacker role, but they've upgraded the linebacker role. As you posted earlier, Christian Ellis has been, waived. Could be back.
I'm surprised by it. Yeah,
I'm not. He could be back on the practice squad tomorrow, for all we know. Looking at the the injury report, Zach Cunningham was limited practice day, so semi-good response. I mean, he's playing because hamstrings are finicky situations, but having him and don't call me Darius Shaq Leonard. I mean, we have two guys that don't want to be called Darius, but whatever.
That's true.
Yeah, what's wrong with the name Darius? But whatever. But with that all being said, is
Darius Rucker is somewhere right now pissed.
Yeah, he's mad as hell. But like that's my point. Like why? Like they upgraded there. Okay, so people are like, oh no, now that the Niners put the blueprints out there how to beat the Eagles. The Eagles have those blueprints too. So yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not going to freak out. Even with this Dallas game coming up, win or lose, I'm not going to freak out. I know how this goes. I know everybody's kind of looking forward to, like, if they can get past Dallas, it's the Seahawks. They're not a bad team, but they're not a great team. And then after that, it's Giants, Cardinals, Giants. But Giants, Cardinals, Giants are automatic wins. We saw that last year. We saw that with the Saints. We had a fight to beat the Giants last year as well. So there are no guarantees in football. And listen, those teams are definitely pretty much out of it at this point. So now all they want to do is play spoiler. So I'm not looking past it, but at the same time, I don't want to see this team get smacked in the mouth. This is going to be a really good game, no matter what. I hate saying it. Dallas is a good team. Dallas is a good team, and it got to be take my green glasses off, put them down. Dallas is a good team. The numbers are out there. They do really well at home. They do really well against the Eagles at home. Dak Prescott's numbers are through the roof against the Eagles at home. So everything's pointing in Dallas's favor right now. With that being said, other people out there going, well, Dallas might be for you've got an angry dog, as we've been used the term a lot. An angry dog might bite back now because they got smacked in the nose. Now they're going to take their punishment on them. But you can't think of it that way because the Dallas team is a good team. They have a good team. They have good offensive weapons, great defensive weapons. And between the Niners, the Eagles, and Dallas, one of these three teams should be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and in total transparency, after seeing last week how Dallas won and how the Eagles lost, I woke up that Monday going, there's no way Darius Leonard is signing with the Eagles. Why would he come to the Eagles when he sees the output of Dallas with the home record and the shellacking they're putting on teams? And I was surprised to see him sign with the Eagles. Then it came out today that really the tipping point for it was his relationship with Nick Sirianni. So, at least we have that going for us. But I'm very optimistic about this linebacker corp right now because I do think Darius Leonard is still a good linebacker. I still think he can have very much of an impact on that field. I think it is a bit of a head scratcher. He even came out and said it. Like he was a little bit confused on what happened in Indy as well and why he was gone. I kind of chalked it up to his contract and how much money he was owed going forward. But I mean, hey, you got to look at the Colts, and they are a fringe playoff team right now. And who knows what they're going to do, to go out this season. They could very well make the playoffs. And it is a little bit of a head scratcher to think that they didn't think that Darius Leonard was a contributor. I think he's obviously an upgrade on our team when it comes to a Christian Ellis, and I'll even say a Nick Morrow, even though Nick Morrow has played well. Cunningham coming back, who has been really solid for us. I think him and Leonard, and then eventually, if Dean can come back later in the season, maybe in the playoffs, maybe he can contribute a bit. I think all things are looking up, and it's funny because there's still probably another player or two Haley's going to try and get on this team. I know a lot of people are thinking that it's Sue. I know some people are screaming from the rooftops about Zach Ertz. I've seen people bitching about it possibly being Zach Ertz, which I don't get. But, I mean, Haley every week, almost every day, is looking at a possible way to improve this team. And just on Monday, it was Shaq Leonard waving Christian Ellis. Maybe it's because he has a Sue or somebody else right there in the pipeline that he's about to sign tomorrow. I mean, who knows? And it's also funny that it's Dallas week, and Darius Leonard was choosing between Dallas and the Eagles, and now we're hoping that he straps on the pads this week to play against that team that he almost became a part of.
Wouldn't it be funnier if he just waited to see who won this one? Whoever wins this contest, I'm gonna go with them. You know,
it could have played out that way, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and dwell on the Niners game. I'm not going to look at the stats. There's really nothing to look at that's not going to make you want to vomit. I mean, the only stat that the Eagles fans are going to see in that one is maybe the first quarter. But other than that, after that, it fell apart. But, Joe, you just looking back at that game, what was the major, if you could fix one major malfunction of the game for the Eagles, what would you fix? Where do you think they really need to hone in on this?
1,000,000% tackling. They couldn't tackle anybody. It was like watching an NFL team versus a Pee Wee team. I mean, it was unbelievable how they couldn't wrap these guys up, how these guys were juking them out. It was almost sickening to watch. And then once you see these guys miss a tackle on consecutive plays, and Niners, Purdy, Deebo Samuel with 3 touchdowns, at that point that these guys are not going to be stopped. They can't tackle. These guys are running all over the place, getting yak after the catch. There was no way the Eagles were going to win that game when they couldn't produce a tackle. Yeah,
and I agree with you. And the other thing is, I don't want to be like that guy, but I'm tired of watching CBs and safety, especially CBs, tackle. They all do it. It's not just the Eagles. They do this I'm going to throw my body at somebody. Yeah. But I'm not going to wrap anybody up or try to slow somebody down so the rest of the team can come over and gang tackle or something. Yeah, I agree with you on that. The game planning, in my eyes, and I've actually been pretty good about not blaming Brian Johnson or anything, but I'm actually going to go with Nick Sirianni if I'm going to fix something, because where was he during this whole thing? Nothing. What he goes, all right, guys, he should have said, all right, listen, stop, because it felt like there was a panic. As soon as that first touchdown came down, I feel like that it was before even the Eagles were losing. As soon as they couldn't score twice in the red zone, I felt like a panic set in. And everything was done in a panic situation. And I was hoping maybe they'd go to the locker room, calm down, come in and kind of refocus themselves. But they didn't do it. They didn't do that. It was a constant panic. And that's what it seemed like that the whole time. That's why the yards after the catch were like that, because they were swinging for the fences and missing big time.
It's ridiculous.
And listen, some people are like, oh, there's some bad calls or some missed calls. Yeah, we saw the one with Reed Blankenship, and the guy pretty much fell on top of him and dug his elbow in the back of his helmet and neck area, and should have been considered a hold. But okay, that would have stopped that touchdown right then and there. Doesn't mean they weren't scoring the next play or two after that, and the game would have maybe still ended up the same exact way. It's not like we lost from a last second and that happened. This team, like you said, Joe, got smacked in the face, and now they got to own it. And from what we've been hearing, interviews with Jason Kelsey, interviews with Brandon Graham, just all over the place. They're owning it. They're owning their mistake. Now let's hope they can learn from it. But let's look forward at this Dallas game. But real quick, before we jump into it, because we're talking about all these Eagles and they're traveling all over the place. So let's talk about Philly sports trips. Guys, guess what? Dallas game, of course, too late. Can't go to it. Been telling you guys that for weeks. Seattle game, guess what? Sold out. You missed out on it. But don't worry. They have plenty of other ones. You can go to the Giants game. I'm sure they'll get some stuff set up for the playoffs. Don't worry. Hell, you can go to the Stadium Series. Watch the Flyers take on the Devils. Great price. Great holiday present for anybody. Not expensive at all. And if you're a hockey fan or a Philly sports fan, a great place to go. Check it out. And also, if you want to wait for the weather to warm up and you want to hit spring training down in Florida, they have multiple trips available for you. That and so much more. They have trips out to the West Coast to watch the Sixers. You name it, they got to go to phillysportstrips.com. Check them out.
One more thing about Philly Sports Trips. You got to give kudos to their president over there, Vince Rizzuto, because the NFL put old switcheroo on the fans and everybody of Philadelphia and Seattle because they flex them out of a Sunday game to a Monday night. And, of course, the NFL doesn't care about the fans, the traveling fans, the teams. I mean, how many people does this really affect? And it's all about the mighty dollar for them. But Vince and his team over there, Philly Sports Trips, sprung into action. They got everything wrapped up, I think, within 24 hours of the announcement. And I do know that they have to eat some costs, but they will not turn around and charge the attendees any more money. They're going to take it on as a company, and he's got everything set up for him. So, Vince, kudos to you, man.
Yeah, that's huge, and that's, I guess, something when you think about these things you don't take into consideration that things can change, especially flexing from a Sunday to a Monday, and
that's big. Yeah.
I mean, do you not look at the fact that this is an East Coast team versus a West Coast team? It's not like it's a Giants game.
It's cross country.
Yeah, like it's a cross country. It's from a Sunday to a Monday. It's not like it was flexed from a 1:00 game to an 8:00 game. It's not a home game. Where you're like, all right, we got to just change a couple reservations around. No, and he was getting some flack on social media because people are like, well, what are you going to do about it? It was his fault. Like, he called up the NFL and said, fuck this game, yeah. But, yeah, absolutely. Vince did a great job. And he did a great job getting everybody down. He's going to get a great job getting everybody down to Dallas. Joe, let's look at this Dallas game. Let's look at it moving forward. I don't want a prediction from you. Me and you have gotten away from doing predictions on Wednesday nights. They never work out well. And I can't make a real decision with that. But keys to victory, Joe. What is Joe's biggest key to victory, Eagles-Dallas, at this point?
Run the damn ball. I know it's, like your word, cliche to say, but when you know that something isn't working, you have to make those adjustments. I mean, listen, the guys standing outside the NovaCare, like the Eagles, they mentioned it. Sirianni, like they acknowledged it in their pressers today. They said, "Oh, we brought them some coffee." Like they're not ignoring them. Like they know how the fans feel, and I think it's a cop out when they're saying, "Oh, well, we have to be patient with the run." Well, what exactly are you being patient about? You know that the run sets up the pass. Why are you passing the ball on first down, then trying to run second and third? What exactly are we doing here? You average 4.5 to 5, depending on who's running the ball. Every play, you attempt it. And then that's how you set up your second and third down. Like, it's not rocket science here. Every other team does it. The Eagles are the only team that seem to have a problem with it. And they have talented running backs on their roster. They just don't use them the way that they should be used. It's just they need to have more of a balanced offense. And I understand you have AJ. You have Devontae. It looks like Dallas Goedert is coming back this week against Dallas. He all but said it earlier. He said Dallas has a nice ring to it. Awesome. But you have to create that run game. I mean, that you have talented backs. We've seen DeAndre Swift with enough attempts. We've seen him run for 176. We've seen him put up the big chunk yards. It's what sets up your offense later in the downs, and they never do it. And this is a key to a game: possession. And how do you keep possession? You run the damn ball.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with that, Joe. And hey, Angry Ant, how you doing, bud? And actually, I have another comment here from Steve. The offense starts to resemble very early Sirianni days. Agreed, and that's kind of what my point's going to be, is smarter decision-making, and not just from the coaching. I'm putting a little on Jalen on this one, too.
Sure.
I went back and tried watching some of the film, and I'll be honest with you, it's been a crazy week, so getting to watch every ounce of it has been difficult. But one thing is, I mean, he was forcing the ball to – it seems like he's doing this recently as well, forcing the ball to either Smith or Brown, and guys are wide open. And I know, listen, when you're in there, you got to make your progressions and all that, so maybe he doesn't get to them every time. But there's times he was holding that ball for 30 seconds, a long time, and nobody's getting open.
He had time. Yeah.
There was times that, we saw him in the Bills game and do it too, where he tried to scramble out, he fell. We see things like that. And it's got to be better decision-making there. It's got to be better call-playing decision-making. And they got to be, I wonder, we really look at Shane Steichen and how much we're missing him. Because we saw how the play calling changed when he came in, how it worked for Hurts, how it worked for everybody. But he never got away from the run game. He knew how to balance it for the most part. And I don't know if it's Sirianni, if it's Brian Johnson, but I got to blame Sirianni because he's the head coach. He's the man in charge, if you ask me. And if he's not doing it, if Brian Johnson's not getting the job done, then he needs to step and say, Brian, you got to run the damn ball. We've got to be prepared. Because in my eyes, looking at that Niners game, the Niners had a game plan. And at first, they weren't running the original game plan. They said, we're going to try our normal, we'll call it vanilla stuff, see what happens. Well, that didn't work out. We saw that. We all got excited. I'll be honest, I was tweeting out third, 3 and out. Get used to saying that. Well, that backfired big time. As the kids say, that didn't age well. But, that they said that didn't work. They made their change, and then the Eagles never changed their game plan. So you got to be smarter. You got to make good decisions. Anthony's here. I feel like Brian Johnson is holding the offense back because he's too busy catering to Hurts. I don't know. I don't
know if he's catering, but I will say this, and this goes back even 2 weeks ago when me and Fred were going after each other. What Fred said back then, the Eagles did make an adjustment when it came to the quick throws. They were throwing it over the middle, especially in those 3rd and longs, and AJ's fighting and Devontae's fighting for the yardage. They did do that. They did get the ball out quickly. But that also didn't help them in the fact that Jalen had all the time in the world, it felt like, it's on some of those plays, and for whatever reason, nobody can get open. And it was either thrown away or he was losing yards. Were the Niners DBs just that stuck like glue on our guys? What exactly was it?
And that's all you heard. And that's all you heard is how their DBs were, all right. They were mediocre.
Right. Yeah.
But yet that's where we got beat the most. Because when we were throwing the ball, when we had the opportunity to throw the ball, he had, like you said, time, abundance of time, really a ton of time, and he didn't throw it. And you watch him, he's doing the typical wave him off, trying to throw him in. And at one point, didn't say wave him off, kind of keeping an eye on Julio Jones, keeping an eye on Zacchaeus, anything. And and then, trying to, not saying throw across your body, throw across the field. That's always a recipe for disaster. It just seemed like a comedy of errors on that behalf of things.
Why is nobody coming back for the ball? I understand, okay, you're not going to get your 10, 15, 20-yard chunk play down the field, but come back up if you see that your quarterback is in trouble. Get those 4, 5, 6 yards, whatever it is. It sets up the next play. I don't know if they're just getting stuck in their routes with these DBs or whatever it is, but nobody was clicking. Nobody had a feel of okay, I have his back if he gets in trouble. It felt like everybody was out there, on their own, just trying to figure out what the hell to do.
Yeah, like I said, I also, and I'm not trying to, I think it's a cop out a little bit, but I'm not copping out. The exhaustion set in right after that first period, dude. You saw it in their face. You saw in their energy. So, there was a real thing to that. Again, don't tell me this is by accident. Look at the NFL, they knew the Eagles were going to be decent. I don't think they thought they were going to be 10-2 at this point. They knew they were going to be. They had a plan for them to be a good team, and they knew that. All right, you have to play the Niners. It's at home, but they get a 10-day break. You're working 3 games in 13 days. They're doing it again. Now you're going to Dallas. You're traveling to Dallas. Dallas is on a mini bye because they just played on Thursday night against the Seahawks and won against them in a little controversial ways, but they wanted the W's in their court or in their column, whatever you want to say. But it's setting up to be this way, and it's setting up to be this heavyweight bout. And they've been going round after round. Unlike some of these guys, Dallas is starting their heavyweight bout. Niners are still in the midst getting to start their heavyweight bout. We're in the middle towards the end. of the heavyweight part of things because, yes, Dallas, and then it's Seahawks after that. And I don't want to say cookie teams, but, yeah, you get Tommy DeVito and who the hell's quarterback in Arizona now? I don't know. Joe Sheeran is, for all I know. And Joe, you probably do a better job, let's be honest. But,
well,
you know.
Before we move on from the Niners, we got to talk about Big Bomb. Big Dom DeSandro. Yeah. I mean, what was your take on all that? That was pretty wild.
It was a wild situation. Now, I don't know if you saw about 5 o'clock this afternoon, the NFL put out kind of this thing saying that it's in the rules that non-player and coaching staff members are not allowed to get involved with any altercations or anything. But he is the head of security. But I know it's not security. People think Dom is just a security guy, like in the complex, follows the team around and is the head of the guys that protect the team. That's probably part of his job. But I mean, also, like when they're investigating a guy, that's Dom who's doing it. When they're escorting prospective players to the team, like Shaq Leonard, that's Big Dom picking him up at the airport, bringing him in, introduce Dom's got his finger on the pulse of the NFL. I mean, Dom, I'm looking, kind of watching that in slow-mo. Dom just happened to be in the area. And he was doing his job. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a homer. Be like, hey, it's Dom. Everybody loves Dom. But he was there, and he just was kind of, he was jawing at him because he said it was ridiculous. Because let's rewind it back for a second. That was a dirty play. The Niners were out for blood that whole game. Just call it for what it is. They were out for blood. And fine, we all kind of knew that coming into it. I think you said earlier, they wanted it more, Joe. They definitely they wanted it more, and you could see that from the get. I mean, I was reading tweets from people who were down covering the game and stuff like that. That like Niners players were kind of getting in the middle of Eagles pregame warm-ups, kind of shouldering them or whatever it is. But they were out for it. The guy German suplexed him. Literally a WWE move, not just me making this up, and could have hurt him, and it was right in front of him, and he just said, that was dirty, or that's, effed up, or whatever it is he lipped to him. The guy, Greenwald, put his hand in his face. Now, people are like, he punched him. I'm like, he didn't punch him. He hit him in the face with his fingers. I can't even tell you if it was 100% on purpose, but he got close enough to him. He was probably telling me, go sit down, you're not a player. Shut your mouth, whatever it is, trash talk you want to do. The situation was, first part, wild. You get a Niners player thrown out, and our head of security got thrown out. Just a wild situation. But,
it's a good trade-off for me, if he
all right, sorry, Dom, you go watch in the back. They'll lose one of their key defensive players. Like you said, I'll take the trade. But for those who are just joining us, the Sixers are at less than a minute left in the game. They're up 123 over 119 over the Wizards. Much tighter game. We're going to get more of a breakdown of this Sixers game because after me and Joe are done, get started with Dives, Sean Bernard, Pat Bernard, and I think Mitch is also going to be on that as well, breaking down this game. So after us, guys, check them out, and you'll get all that. But, Joe, just a wild scenario. I never thought that would be a conversation that we would be having on a show. But if you're asking me, was he wrong? Is that really what do I think Dom is wrong? I think it's nothing. I don't think it's a wrong or a right thing. He was in the area,
right?
And maybe he said he's not allowed to talk to them. Fine, but he wasn't wrong. It was a dirty play. That flag should have been thrown before any of that went down, and it just got things out of hand. And it just goes to show you that those refs had no control in that game over these two teams. These were two bucking Broncos just having it out, man.
Yeah, and I honestly do think that I think the NFL had to say something about it because it was a player involved with, a head of security. It wasn't another coach, and we do know that there were some scuffles before the game. From what I heard, Dom was involved in saying something to, what the hell is his name? Greenwood, whatever it was. Greenwald, yeah. Dom and him were kind of jawing at each other even before the game. So it kind of built up to that moment. And like you said, Dom just was in the right place at the right time. I mean, there's nothing that says anybody, regardless of their title, can't say something to somebody. Like
Yeah.
it's like him by him saying words, it doesn't affect the game. It's when the player goes up to him and starts going like this to his face or whatever it was. I still don't know if he made contact. You don't know. You said kind of the same thing. Because there was an altercation, that's why it escalated to what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, the player is, in my opinion, 100% in the wrong because no matter what, if you put your hands up, that's when self-defense comes into play.
Sure.
I mean, Dom doesn't know what's going to happen. He doesn't know if he's going to swipe at him. He doesn't know if he's going to hit him. I mean,
Dom didn't even do that, dude. Dom just took his hand, like, smacked out of the way. He didn't do it. He took a shot in the face. Now, listen, again, it wasn't a punch. It's just like flicked his nose with his fingers. But he didn't. He could have, like, smacked his hand out of the way. He didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, like, I get they don't want other staff members and people like that getting in a jog. I mean, there's reports after the fact that him, Greenwald, and the GM of the Niners were kind of buddying it up afterwards. Like, he knows him. He knew him previous to this. They knew, and the Niners, the GM has a connection to him as well, something with somebody in the Eagles organization. They're all laughing about it at the end. It's the NFL, it's the media making a bigger deal of the situation than it really should be. It's an odd situation. But it's not as big as they want to do. Steve sitting here, Zacchaeus' TD seemed to have made Hurts think he can hold the ball longer now. He is way better when he's decisive after read number 2 and running it, and they're on short routes. I agree with that, Steve. I also agree with the fact that the defense, especially the Niners, nobody's respecting the ability of Jalen Hurts to run at this point anymore. I think that's been a bit of an issue. Like, that takes that dynamic away, so they have to. You're only send 4 guys. You're not going to pressure up. You're going to take away the middle and then make him throw the long ball.
Am I frozen on your end?
Yeah, your face is frozen, but we can hear everything you're saying. So.
All right. Okay.
You look like you're in deep thought.
Yeah, well, I didn't know what I should do. If I should exit and then try and come back in?
Keep going. We'll talk it out. If not, yeah. I mean, we don't have a ton of time left here, another 30 minutes or so people can look at you making duck lips. Let's get a couple more comments. I watched the Niners game, and teams would run up on them and slow the pace down, but for some reason the Eagles stopped running and making the pace faster and hurrying up the pace. I mean, a good point, Ed. I mean, if you go back to the first quarter, that was all Eagles. -6 yards for the Niners. They dominated the entire time of possession during that. They actually won the time of possession for the first time in like 3 weeks. Yeah. And then there they are. Like that was a different thing. And they won the time of possession for the first time, and they lost and handily lost. But yeah, they slowed it down. They were controlling it, but they were failing in the red zone. And I kind of felt like they're like, oh, we'll just go back to the red zone. We'll score this time. And after this first couple times, you know, it is what it is. Let's see. Murray is back. Murray. Who do you think he means?
He's talking. You asked who the quarterback of the Cardinals will be.
That's right, Murray. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm a little behind. Sorry, guys. Crazy stat. JoJo's first Sixer in history with 30 plus, 5 plus, 5 plus in 6 straight games. Doesn't seem possible. Well, it's possible. And guys, by the way, the Sixers final finally came in 131-126. Over the Wizards. I think they only won 3 games. This should have probably been a little easier than it was. When I saw Greenlaw, go ahead.
Well, you're talking about the Sixers. There's an explanation for it. I had a $10 bonus bet earlier, and I bet on the Sixers with some player props. So the fact that it came down close is 100% on me.
The mush is in. What was the spread on this game? What was the over under?
10.5.
10.5. There you go, Joe. It is your fault. Angry Ant what I saw was Greenlaw slammed Smith on the sidelines, and Dom was just there, and Greenlaw was talking smack to Dom and Smith, and Greenlaw and the rest of the Niners still talking shit. I blame the refs because they let this game get out of control. Agreed, they did let the game get out of control, but they didn't lose the game. That had nothing to do with it. 50 burger for JoJo, absolutely. I blame Shanahan for not controlling his players when you're up, but a lot he didn't. Listen, this is the NFL. There's no mercy rule. I don't believe that. Put your foot on the throat. If this was the other way around, we would be puffing our chest out, So
100%.
I'll push back on that one a little bit. Listen, he allows his team members to kind of be their own personality. I mean, you saw Kittle after they beat Dallas. He ripped off his shirt, and there's the Dallas. It was a Dallas sucks or beat Dallas shirt he had on or whatever. All Dom did was separate two players. Complete overreaction by the bend over bang bang gang. That's a good one, Steve. All right. So again, let's talk Dallas, Joe. Like bolts here. I mean, I don't want you to predict anything, but like, is this like, Joe? Are you laying a bet on this game? Let's talk about that.
Absolutely not. No, I'm not touching this. No, I in all honesty, I know it's in Dallas. I know it's going to be a tough game. I know it's going to be close. It's going to be Heart Attack City. I think the outcome of this Niners games gives the Eagles the edge. I think that they now have something to go in and prove, and what better week, what better team, what better place to do it than Arlington, Texas.
So key things coming that are different that they didn't have last week. I mean, Dallas Goedert was a big missing piece. They didn't have that because he, again, like usually when he has that time to throw, Dallas Goedert's open. I mean, is Dallas Goedert being back, is it a medium, a little bit, or a major plus in the right direction for the Eagles? Did I lose you, Joe?
No, I'm here. I'm sorry.
No, I'm asking you, Dallas Goedert being back this game, where do you rate this as, like a plus, like a little bit of a plus, a medium plus, or like a major difference maker having him versus not having him?
Well, it's definitely a plus. I mean, and if I'm correct, he got injured in that first Dallas game.
Yep.
So you know he's going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and you can tell a little bit of the Eagles' offensive weakness without Dallas Goedert there, because I mean, let's face it. I mean, he's a big target, and he is going to take some coverage off of Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. You saw the historic run that A.J. Brown went on for the 5-6 games in a row with 125 and whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of disappeared once Dallas Goedert goes away. And I'm not alluding that it's because of Dallas Goedert that A.J. had that success. I'm just saying that you put another defender on A.J. Brown when you don't have to worry about Dallas Goedert. That's what you're getting from the past 2 weeks. 1-2 catches. I mean, he listen, it's A.J. Brown. He's going to have games where he's not catching 10 balls for 150. I don't care. Tyreek Hill isn't doing that either. So, I mean, they're going to have those games. But now with Dallas Goedert back, it opens up more of an opportunity for A.J. Brown and Devontae to get even more looks down the field. Because, I mean, listen, Dallas Goedert, where's he going to be most of the time? Midfield, 10 yards up. And so, I mean, he's going to be read one, read two, and then you look down the field, someone running the seam. I mean, it's pretty huge, I think. Like, Dallas Goedert, you notice the difference in the offense when he's not on the field. I mean, the game's huge. And Dallas coming back is just as big, I want to say, because the Eagles have such a glare at tight end right now, and they didn't really make up for his production when he was off the field.
Mm. No, he didn't, and you're absolutely right. I'm going with you, Joe. It's a big difference. Yes, he with A.J. Brown or without Dallas Goedert there, A.J. Brown, you can double up on him. You can put somebody on him, and you don't have to protect Jack Stoll or any of those guys. I don't think Grant Calcaterra's played in a few weeks either. And like you said, yeah, and I think Steve's saying it here somewhere. Tight end is the QB's biggest safety valve out there. Absolutely. Look, Carson Wentz made a career with him and Zach Ertz. That should make the difference in the world. And I agree with you, Steve, on this one. I think, A, like Joe said, it makes people stay honest and it spreads out that defense. But B, gives you that safety valve. If they're not there, he can throw to a short-handed guy who can get yardage after the fact and play. And he's a gamer. He is a gamer type guy. The guy, didn't he rupture his spleen or something? I don't know what it was. And he played in the game. So I mean, you got tough guys. obviously, even against the Niners, for how bad that game is, the O-line was doing well. Giving Jalen plenty of times. It was just the offense not getting open, the weapons not getting where they are, and the Niners, give the Niners defense credit. They didn't have to send a full blitz package all the time. But Lane Johnson, let's just talk about that for a second. I mean, you had to worry about Bosa. You had to worry about Hargrave. You had to worry about, who am I missing?
Chase Young.
Chase Young, yes, thank you. I mean, and he pancaked those guys sometimes. I mean, some of those guys got theirs, but it wasn't against Lane, and they did a great job giving him an opportunity to do what he did. It's just now with Dallas, it gives him that, like Steve said, that safety valve on top of that other weapon. It causes the Dallas defense to be a little bit more spread out.
Yeah, and I think kind of to what my point was about, Jalen Hurts in that Niners game having, 5-8 seconds to make his reads, look down the field, and like kind of complaining about why isn't anybody coming back to the ball to help. That is Dallas Goedert's job. That is where Dallas Goedert will be posted up for these types of plays. So I mean, it just adds such another big option to Jalen Hurts.
Yep. For those who are just joining us, Joel B's sixth career 50th point game tonight versus the Wizards. Sixers win 131-126. Like I said, the Get Process show will be getting started shortly. Joe, why don't I give you a chance to pop out for a second? I'm going to do a quick couple commercials. That way, by the time you get back, it won't be too long just by myself and just stare at my ugly mug.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. Guys, like I said, this great show is brought to you by CherryInjuryLaw.com. That's right, David R. Cherry is the man with the plan when things just don't go right for you. Dave Cherry will help you when there's life-altering moments. Workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law, you name it, he will be there to just get you through those tough moments. CherryInjuryLaw.com, 610-565-0300. Again, call Dave directly at 610-565-0300. Go to CherryInjuryLaw.com. And guys, we talk about Big Dallas game. Hey, if you're in Dallas and you're doing your thing and you want to go to a game, or you're here in Philly, you want to go to a game, you want to go to a concert, you want to go to these theater events, sports, you name it, they got it. Sherry'sTickets.com, family owned and operated since 1946. Sherry's Tickets, great prices, no hidden fees, and use that great promo code EoP10. That's right, EoP10 will save you an additional 10% off at Sherry'sTickets.com. EoP10, 10% off at Sherry'sTickets.com. And see, without a doubt, we saw Joe. He's back. What's up, guys? So, Joe, let's transition a little conversation here from the Eagles. There'll be plenty more Eagles conversation coming up here on EoP throughout the week into Sunday, all the way up to the pregame, halftime, and postgame show with everybody talking Eagles Dallas, of course. But Sixers win tonight. Joe mushed them a little bit, made it more difficult for them, but Embiid still got his 50 points that he needed. So, Joe, did you bet on that?
I did. I bet on have over 31.5.
There you go. Well, he did well for you tonight, Joe. He did well over that.
Wow.
Joe, Kelly Oubre's back.
Yeah.
There's many positives for the Sixers, but one of the big positives I want to point out here is their upcoming schedule. Tonight we saw against the Wizards. Then again, they have the Hawks Friday, Wizards again Monday, Pistons back-to-back on the 13th and the 15th, the Hornets Saturday, the Bulls on Monday the 18th, and that's all the way up until they play into the end of December, right before Christmas, when they play the Timberwolves and the Raptors are probably the two bigger teams that they played since then. A little early Christmas present for your 76ers?
No, because I don't care who the hell they're playing. This Wizards team was 2-10, or whatever the record is, but it's really bad. And they put up 126 on the Sixers. What is happening with this defense? They beat the Lakers and the almighty LeBron by 44 last week. And now the Wizards are putting up 126 on you. I mean, they shouldn't have to score 131 points to beat the Wizards. So you rattling off those teams, that means nothing to me because this Sixers team is so inconsistent. It boggles my mind.
Is it playing down a little bit, Joe, in this case, do you think? Knowing how bad this Wizards team is pretty much in tank mode for all intents and purposes. Is it a little bit playing down at this time.
Probably.
Because, like you said, you beat LeBron. You play some amazing defense against the Lakers. They played well even against the Celtics. No Embiid, no Maxey, and no Kelly Oubre.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I, right now, personally feel this is them playing down. They thought this was going to be a walkthrough, and the Wizards didn't play that way.
Embiid just put up 50 points to beat the Wizards. If he would have scored 40, 45, they would have lost.
Did he score 48 in 3 quarters last year?
Yeah.
Or last game, I mean. The last time they played the Wizards,
I think he had close to 50. I think he had 50 for that too.
No, I think it was just. I think it was 48. It was just right under 50, and it was in 3 quarters. Though they pulled them for the fourth because they were just dominating them.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
But I mean, Joe, this team is not complete. I'm going to put that out there. The trade deadline comes up. I'm not looking for a superstar, but I'm looking for a star. Or a couple stars, if possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what a couple weeks does because I mean we've all been on here saying you can stand pat at the trade deadline. You don't have to go out there and force a trade for a quote unquote superstar. You don't need that third big score. And now just after a couple weeks, it's like, were we wrong? I mean, was it just a bit of a hot start for the Sixers? I mean, it was a new team, new offense, new players, gelling, new starting five. Nick Nurse. I mean, it could have just been something that teams hadn't seen yet, and now that there's tape on it, you could say with the same thing with football. Now that there's tape, these guys go to the drawing board and they learn how to cover these guys better. It could be a little bit of that their offense right now is sour.
Sure.
Even though they're putting up 131 and Embiid is scoring 50, I guess I can't say the offense is sour. Maybe it's just the defense is just come back down to earth. I don't know. Well,
I mean, right now, I guess they didn't update this yet, but they're in 4th place behind the Celtics, the Bucks, the Magic, 2.5 games out of 1st place. So it's a tight race too. Don't forget still. I think you're right, Joe. I think there's been some settling. I mean, forget you had no Kelly Oubre for a while due to his rib injuries. But, I mean, Maxey continues to turn heads and continues to be a star. Do the Sixers make a trade deadline maneuver, do you think, for at least something?
I do now.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do now. But I don't know. I don't know what type of move it'll be. I mean, you always see the Alex Caruso stuff. It could be I don't know, a buddy. Never mind, not a buddy. The Pacers doing great. Why would they trade him away? But it could be just a role player. It could be a bench piece. I don't think that they're going to go out and trade away all their bench depth in which they got in the Harden trade, which we were saying don't do. I still don't think they're going to do that. But I do think that there's going to be a little bit more urgency when it comes to it to see what is out there and what they can do. Is it a Zach LaVine? Probably not. But I mean, they're more. He's going to be working those phones, seeing what's going on.
I don't think it's a Zach LaVine, but I think it's a Tobias Harris finally trade. I know it's we say this every trade deadline. I know we say this every off season, but it's the last part of his contract, somebody who might need him, or they just take him on just to move the money so they get a guy off their books for the money, that kind of stuff. I think, but I just, Tobias Harris continues to be streaky.
Yeah, what did he finish with tonight?
I'll tell you right now.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I have the game tracker right here.
Was it less than 15 and a half?
Tobias Harris, 0.6.
That's so big. See, this is what I'm talking about. I had a parlay. That's what I had. It wasn't outright. It was Sixers 10.5, Embiid over 31.5, Maxey 24.5, Tobias 15.5. Everybody let me down except for Joel Embiid.
No, Tyrese was 26 points.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so 26 points. D'Anthony Melton had 19 points. Oubre had 12 points, and that was your major scoring tonight. Batum had 9 points, and Harris with the 6, like I said earlier.
You think he should be in that starting 5? Or do you think it's just a move until Oubre's ready to go?
Who, Batum
Yeah, Batum.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he earned it over the last few weeks. He's played well. He's kind of cooled off a little bit, but I do think ultimately when Kelly Oubre's 100%, he'll be back in there.
Yeah, I think so too. But I know one of the things about Batum was his defense. Everybody was like stroking this guy over his defense, and now here I look at the box score again, and the Sixers let them score 126 points. So
yeah. Again, I just kind of keeping my eye on the game. I can't really analyze this game and give a real breakdown because, like I said, I've been working since 6 o'clock. So, but just from my off looking out of the corner of my eye, watching the game, checking in on a little bit, it seemed a little laxed in the defensive category. Like they never thought And listen, if you look at the game tracker, let me see here if they have it on here. If they updated the game charts, here we are. There it is. I mean, for the most part, the Sixers' biggest lead was 7 points. The Wizards was 10 points, and for the most part, the Wizards, especially the second and third quarter, had the lead.
That's a big part of my problem. The Wizards should have never been up by 10 points. They should have never had a lead in this game at all.
No, you're absolutely right.
What is their record? I know. I think I said 2-10. What is their actual record? It's not far from that.
Their actual record right now. Let me come all the way to the bottom here. They're 3-16. I don't think they updated this yet, so it might be 3-17. But let me
even worse. It's even worse.
Yeah, they didn't update it yet. So yeah, it's 3-17 as of this loss tonight.
I knew I said math and math.
But again, I'm not as worried because I think it is as a downplaying of it. But looking at, of course, the points leader was Embiid with 50 points. Embiid had 13 rebounds, 7 assists. That's another big number that he's been putting up lately.
Yeah.
And he had a huge block. I did see that. But Washington, for the most part, they had the fast break points, 23-10 there. But the second chance points, Sixers took a huge advantage of that. That was 15-4 differential there, and it was pretty close on points in the paint. But Sixers edged them out 68-64 to the Wizards. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Joe, they should just dominate these teams. That's what good teams do. But it's almost like I want to call it an off night for them, but it is. They're not going to play them as hard. They're not going to hurt themselves as much. And William, hey, what's up, Will? I haven't heard him in a while. 13-7, yeah. So thank you.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, Joe, I think Nick Nurse is still doing a good job. I still think.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, no, I think people are starting to figure some things out, but this team again hasn't been together a lot again for a while with Kelly Oubre out. And give Batum some credit because if it wasn't for him playing the way. Oh, and Pat Bev against the Celtics, man on fire, dude.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have Pat Beverly here a few years ago. What did
he put up, like 26 that game?
25 or 26 somewhere in that range.
He played great that game. But looking at the box score here, Jordan Poole, who's been taking a lot of heat, a lot of crap, he put up 23 tonight. So, I mean, just as a humanity level, it's okay to see that.
Yeah, but Joe, I want to transition a little conversation here too, because we're running out of time and I don't want to miss some things. I want to talk some Phillies, but real quick, I want to touch on the Flyers, which we don't get to often say. Dude, 2 in a row against the Penguins. When was the last time we got to talk like that?
It's been a very long time. I want to say year 1 of EoP in your basement.
Probably that. And we're looking. By the way, coming up on in about 2.5 weeks. 6 years, bro.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's insane.
6 years.
And look what has changed hugely. But I mean, young Flyers playing real well. Somebody asked me today, what is this team? I said, young, ready to play, guys trying to prove themselves. And got to give Torts a lot of credit because I did not see him as a guy coming in and being able to talk to these young guys. be able to grow these young guys. I mean, he even said it in his presser. Like, I probably won't be here to see the fruits of my labor, but that's what I'm here for now. You know, you gotta love him still. So talking about how the players had big balls against him in that first game on Saturday. Beat them in both times. It was close games. Beat them in a shootout. Which, by the way, how often do you get to say that? They're like really good in shootouts right now.
A shootout win and an OT win back to back against the cross-state rivals. I mean, that's something we haven't said in a very long time. But are the Flyers playing right now?
No, tomorrow.
No, tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to say that they're 13-10-2, and me knowing that, or at least it's close to that, is a testitude of what the Flyers are doing because I am paying attention. I'm really looking, to see what this team can do going forward. And it was funny because, like, I'm listening to the radio earlier. Al Margani is on, and he's saying, like, with a little bit of a success, like, people are, like, really starting to buy into it, saying, okay, like, this is the start of something. May not be, playoffs. Like, we should really dive into this rebuild. Like, because they're winning, they're saying that people should just, or the Flyers should start trading away these guys that are helping the team win to get assets for, like, years down the road. And Margani goes, why can't people just live where they stand? And it's like, why can't you just watch this team and enjoy it and just know that something is being built here, but it doesn't have to be fast forwarded on your timeline. Let's just enjoy what the Flyers are doing. We have a year one president in Keith Jones. We have, I guess you could say, a real year one fully employed Danny Briere as the GM. I mean, why can't we just enjoy it for what it is? We've seen the Flyers try to stay above water for years. And it's finally the moment where they, come to earth and they say what this team is and what they need to do going forward. Just live in the moment. Now, that was a majority of what I'm saying right now. Al Morgani didn't say all that. He basically just said the quote of living where you stand. Yes, I'm buying into the Flyers right now again, and that speaks volumes in my opinion.
As well as you should. I mean, here's my thing: is like people are like, "Oh, they're winning. We don't want them to win." I'm like, guys, this is hockey. It's a little different here. I mean, again, you got Cutter Guthrie and you got Mitch Koff waiting in the wings for next probably a couple of years, but those guys are, I want to say guaranteed, but they're pretty much bona fide superstars, and unless something goes awry.
Yeah. Mitch Koff has pneumonia right now, so get better, big dog.
It's in Russia. Like, pneumonia is like getting the sniffles to them, so they're all right. But yeah, get well soon. Hopefully everything's fine with them on that. But you don't just build through the draft in that case. You can add some key players, but nurture what you have now, because maybe you're right in the sense that maybe take a Tyson Forrester, really liking this young kid, really coming up. He like learned how to get in the back of the net, and he's been doing it a lot ever since. Yeah, he could be a core piece, like a big piece moving forward, or he could be a big piece if he does okay to bring in the next vet who's going to really not superstar vet, but a vet who's really going to add a presence to them. You got guys like Sean Couturier who are doing who continue to do well. Farabee, decent player. He's up and down sometimes, but when he's on, he's hot. But then, like I said, you got Tyson Forrester, Morgan Frost. All these guys are young and up and coming. Just give them time, like you said, and enjoy it. I'm okay if they make the playoffs this year. I don't even care about the draft standings anymore. Last year, I cared about it more. I wanted them to tank them because it was pointless, the games they were winning. Nobody was learning from anything. Yeah, it was loaded. But if they make the playoffs this year, you get some guys, some playoff experience, because you have to understand, like, is Sean Couturier going to be here when this team is contending? Could be. But
he still has like 7 more years on his contract. Like, I don't see anybody wanting to take that on. He should be here.
Well, it depends. Think about it. A team can come to like a guy like Coots, and you're this close. You're on a cup run, and you think you could be on a cup run for the next couple of years. You take that on. You take that on in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like
A lot of money for 8 years or 7 years, whatever it is.
True, but my point ultimately is mold what you have here and be excited. Joe, you were spot on, by the way, with it 13, 10, and 2. Okay. They are third in the Metro Division, with 1 point behind the Hurricanes. Between the second place and the second to last place, which would be the Penguins, it's only a 4-point swing. Okay, so this thing, they can move up and down a lot.
Playoffs, baby.
Yeah, they have 28 points. Hurricanes have 29, and the Penguins have 25. And the Penguins haven't been playing great hockey either, but the Flyers took advantage of it. And like I said, just having good young teams, good young players becoming good teams, and they're a +4 in the differential world, so that's another positive. And it's young. I mean, look at the Capitals and the Penguins. Both teams, on that average age, is much higher on those teams, and they're kind of like, make a decision mode. Because I was talking with I was doing one of the Clear the Ice the other day with the Penguins. I'm like, Sidney Crosby's 4 years younger than us, Joe. He's only 36. He's 36 years old.
Wow.
So he came in the NHL at 19, but he came in the NHL the year after the Eagles lost the Super Bowl in 2004. So
you know what else he is?
What?
A biatch.
Yeah, well, he is, absolutely. But my point is, he's also a guy who could probably play for 3 or 4 more years. But you also got Malkin and another bunch of guys who are older. So, like, they got to make a decision. Are you moving forward? Capitals, Ovechkin, older. So this could just be the natural progression, and the Flyers being in the right spot at the right time with the youth movement and getting the right guys. That could lead to guys being, like Mitch Kopp being superstars. I mean, Bednard, I know they're dealing with some issues over there. Somebody's having sex with his mom or something like that. That's a pretty crazy story. I was out of my mind. I thought it was fake. Yeah. I doubled and triple checked that thing so much.
I thought it was too until I saw that the team released them. Like, all right, well, they're not going to release them if it's not true.
Yeah, man, that is crazy. At first part, I didn't know the NHL had like a mom's weekend. Did not know that.
Had no idea.
And I'm sure this isn't the first. I mean, I've heard of like why.
I don't blame the guy either.
There was rumors here. Was it like Richards or something? And I'm trying to remember.
Carter and Richie were always rumored to be, down sea aisle, going through the bars.
Yeah, but when it's your young up and coming phenom.
Yeah.
Mom. I mean, the guy's, 19, 20 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, mom's young and all that stuff, but that's crazy. That is something crazy. I never thought we'd be talking about on the show, but here we are today. All right, let's change gears real quick. Let's move into the Phillies. Not many moves being done, and people are, I don't know, kind of up in arms about it, but I don't know what people expect from moves-wise, but some sad news, though. Our closer went to Baltimore, Joe. Craig Kimbrell is now a Baltimore Oriole.
For whatever reason, teams still are interested in handing money to this guy. I mean, I don't want to completely, crap on him because he did have a nice run here. I mean, I should say, like in the regular season, he pitched well. I'm not going to take that away from him. He wasn't there in the playoffs. We all know it. He's a huge reason on why, their fate was sealed in the playoffs. I don't want to crap on him too much because he did play well for us down the stretch. I mean, that's really all I got to say. Kimbrell's gone. No biggie. Whatever.
No, I mean, listen. At one point, I remember I asked you in the beginning of the season, is he cooked already?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he was in the beginning of the season, and then he turned it around, and then he went back to being cooked.
So I don't know if he's a longevity guy or he's a closer guy. Maybe you keep him on your roster and kind of use him very sparingly to stretch him out. But he looked like he lost his arm totally in the playoffs. He couldn't throw anything. But other than that, I mean, Phillies news really has been quiet. They haven't made much on any other pitching front. I know they're talking that conversations between Zach Wheeler are being had, maybe some sort of extension of some sort. But other than that, not too much. Do you expect any big moves from the Phillies?
There was a wild thing today on social media with Jacques Peterson, where
Yeah.
he posted something on Instagram. It was a picture of him and the Fanatic, and the caption said, "It's always sunny in Philadelphia," and the song was "Dancing on My Own." So everybody, went to Twitter saying Philly signed Jacques Peterson, and then the team sources had to come out and say like they haven't even talked to this guy. And it's like a real like head scratcher on why he did it. And if he's just being a troll, good for him. I mean,
Like,
it's pretty good. He damn near broke Philly Twitter.
and think about it, like he may have kind of what was his guy for? I'm trying to remember his name. He was I think he played for Miami at the time. He was the defensive end, and everybody thought he was coming here. Why can't I remember his name? Oh, it's killing
Jesus
me.
Christ.
And I think he ended up when he go to
Ngakwe. I could pronounce his name back then. I can't right now. Ngakwe. It's something like that. Yeah.
Someone was like, remember, like he kept like posting Philly things. Everybody's like, oh, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Then I think it was he went to LA, I think, and then maybe Minnesota or something. Somewhere around. They moved around a couple times.
I believe he did go to Minnesota. Why can't?
Yeah.
That's his name. I just cannot pronounce it right now. Ngakwe.
Yeah, Ngakwe. Yeah, you're right. But Yannick Ngakwe.
Yannick Ngakwe.
Yes. I just looked it up. I knew it was something like that.
Yes, I think I just continue to call him Yannick.
Yannick, yeah.
And keep the last name out a little bit.
But that's what he did. And probably all he was trying to do is drive up the price. Maybe 100%. For somebody else. So, 100%. But wouldn't that be interesting? Jacques Peterson here, and
I would be for it. I really would. I mean, they definitely have a need at left field. I mean, he could play there. He's got some pop in his bat. I mean, he's got experience in the playoffs and a World Series. I mean, I would take it on for sure.
No, absolutely. I don't even know. I'm checking. He's 31 years old. Let's see. I'm just trying to see his contract right now. Hold on a second. I know nothing like that.
He's a free agent.
No, but I want to see what he was making last year.
Yeah.
No. They made a qualifier. They made like $19 million, something like that. I mean, like you said, yeah, left fielder.
Probably a lot for him.
Yeah, left fielder. He's got the pop, like you said. It'd be interesting, but yeah, talk about something that would have flew under the radar if it did happen.
I wouldn't mind the left fielder from the Diamondbacks too. The dude who had the purple hair. I want to say his last name is Lourdes or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Do you think they need to make a big fielding change at this point, or are you okay with them running with what they have?
Well, I don't think that they want to run with what they have in left field. I think that there's a reason why, Harper is staying at first base and Schwarber is going to be your DH going forward. They want more defense in that left field. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think that Pache or Marsh being there, I don't think it's good enough. I think that they do need somebody in that left field who could play a little bit more defense and a little bit better of a bat. I mean, Pache could play the position, but he doesn't have the experience at bat. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that they're satisfied. I mean, Dombrowski can say it until he's blue in the teeth. He's another one, like a Howie. He's going to go out and try and improve this roster day in and day out.
Well, I mean, trying to think. Who's out then? If you're going to go get an outfielder, who's out? Brandon Marsh?
It depends on I think it depends on how you go about it. If it's through trade, I think Rojas is the guy. And I'd be totally fine with that. He's another guy when it comes to defense and presence at the plate. I mean, this guy, he had a game-winning catch in the NLCS in the divisional series that sent us to the NLCS, but he was batting like .13. So even though he's out there making plays, which is great, he's doing absolutely nothing to put runs on the board, and that was huge in the later games of the NLCS.
Yeah, but is it too early to throw him away in that sense?
Yes, yes, and you're 100% right. And anybody who argues it is right as well. My biggest thing is he's 24. He's playing up here on a team that's built to win now, veteran presence, still with the youth of Bohm and Stott and all that, but they still have this window of probably 3 or 4 years. Like, I'm not ready to wait for Rojas to develop, somewhat of a bat in the next 3 or 4 years when our window is now to win.
I don't honestly think Rojas, if he is away, he turns out to be a bona fide hitter. I don't think he's 3 to 4 years away. I think, think about it, the guy came up after the All-Star break.
Sure.
Didn't play a lot right away either. Played a little bit more every day later into August and into September. And up until the playoffs and later in the playoffs, he was, not afraid of the big moments, at least it looked like. It got in his head. You could see he was swinging at anything and everything when he came off the bat, especially that NLCS. But so was Nick. Nick was doing it too. I mean, they weren't. Listen, give the Arizona Diamondbacks credit. They were just much more. We were out-coached in that one. And I'm not. A lot of people don't like Topper. And then, by the way, Topper, there's another piece of news. He was extended to 2025. Just again, they're not really to commit anything big. Just a couple of years. That's all we're going to do. But they said, all right, well, we're going to, right now, who's our hot bats? Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. All right, fine. Well, we're just not going to bat to Kyle Schwarber. Trey Turner cooled off, especially the last couple of NLCS, so we don't have to worry about him. Bryce Harper, be careful with him. But we don't have to worry about Nick Castellanos. You know what I mean? Just don't bat to Kyle Schwarber. Oh, I don't worry about Bohm. I mean, Bohm had a last game. He had a couple good hits, don't get me wrong. But they weren't stringing anything together, and then panic mode set in. I feel like I said that twice tonight, 2 different teams. But, like I said, I don't know about big moves. That'll be interesting to see. Like, I don't think they're going to sit and wait.
Wouldn't it piss you off, though, if they stood pat, though? If we were seeing the same product on the field next year that we saw this past year when we saw kind of what happens, later in the season?
I mean, what do you do? Like, I mean, are you okay with that?
That's what I mean. Like, even if you bring in a left fielder, that's some new blood. Like, you get something in here to get it popping. Like, I can't believe I just said get it popping, but but I don't think that bringing in another piece to be a complement, to be a platoon, whatever. I don't care if it's a full-time left fielder. Bringing somebody in here with a decent batting average and some skill on the field playing defense, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, this is our team, we're running the back, whatever. Like I need to see something, some type of improvement. That's it.
I would like to see you add another starting pitcher rotation, because if you can get somebody half decent where you could have Wheeler, Nola, Ranger, a 4 or 5 guy, and Christopher Sanchez. I mean, I think he's earned at least the 5th spot.
You still got Taiwan. You got Taiwan Walker.
And Taiwan, yeah. I mean, that's a story.
He's in the mix.
That's a story I would love to figure out what's going on. I mean, how did he not crack a chance at all in NLCS?
I have no idea. I think that they were, like, you seen, like, in his last, 3 to 5 starts where he would give up 3 or 4 runs in the first 2 innings, but then he would settle down and he would pitch really well. So I think they were just more worried about going out there and trying to battle from behind every game.
I guess. I mean, how about taking a chance on him coming out of the bullpen, in the later part of the series? I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, I guess that'll be a story we have to find out.
It's almost why keep him on the active playoff roster if you're not even going to give him, any chance to go out there and prove himself. Like I'd rather him out there at times than Soto.
Or Craig Kimbrell.
I keep coughing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too, guys. I'm a little phlegm. I'm on the tail end of something. But I think I'd be okay if I want small ball guys. I think that's one thing that this team is so lacking is this guys. I don't need pop. I need average. Right. I need guys who are going to put the ball on the play and move the bases around. That's what I'm saying. That's where the Diamondbacks outplayed us. They didn't pitch the guys that were dangerous, and they had the other guys off, and they didn't move anything around. And then on top of it, they were all living by that home run ball. I mean, Bryce Harper was only a few feet away from making this a different NLCS.
Absolutely.
But we can't live by that. Why can't we just get somebody who's going to put the ball into play? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. And to your point, like we already have the bombers, the home run hitters. We don't need that 1 through 9. Like you do need the small ball guys, and maybe that's where Rojas eventually comes in. But again, I'm not sitting here willing to wait X amount of years until he figures it out.
Like I said, I don't think he's that far away. I mean, unless you get something good for him or he's a really good bargaining chip or something else. I would like to see him get another chance in the pinstripe. Personally, that's just me. Maybe I'm just a fan.
He probably will. They're not going to trade him just because it's okay.
Yeah. I like Mars. Give him an extension. I like Rojas as a bench player or if someone needs a break, I would trade Nick C and sign Lorenzen as a middle relief pitcher or have him in a starter role. No. Lorenzen?
I don't know what. I don't know what the hell happened with Lorenzen after that no hitter.
Yeah,
he lost it all. Like it was almost like the baseball gods was like, the baseball gods were like, all right, here it is. Here's your pinnacle, your climax of your season. But after that, it's all downhill from here.
Yeah, we're gonna give you this, but that's all you're gonna get for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So you want it all now, or do you want to? It's like when you win the lottery, we'll give you 75% of your money, but you get it now. Or 60% of your money. Yeah, I
was 100% dude. He threw a no-hitter, and I'm going, all right, well, if you can't bring Aaron Nola back, at least you can have Lorenzen come in and possibly be a 2-3. Like, no, I was so wrong.
I think that's why Nola got paid. I'm telling you, Lorenzen, he should be sending Lorenzen a nice gift basket, to be honest with you. Like, that's how I look at it. They kind of got back to the corner, if you think about it. They knew the sweepstakes for Yamamoto. I always trying to make sure I say that name right. Is going to be high. Apparently the Yankees are in big talks between him and Juan Soto on top of it.
Apparently Soto's just about done. Soto's just about to be Yankee.
You think? Yeah. I mean, the Padres.
Yeah, they said it's being finalized now.
The Padres tried buying everything, but then they kind of got in over their head or something. I don't know how to explain it. But, I mean, I think they make a move. I would like to see it for some guys with just speed and average. That's what I want. I don't need big bats anymore. And spread it out that way. Like, break up the batting order that way. And, Joe, one last question to have everybody think about. Are you okay with leaving Kyle Schwarber in that leadoff spot?
100%.
Okay, I figured you would.
He's got 100. Okay, give or take a few. He's got 100 home runs in the past 2 seasons on top of that spot. And again, we say it all the time. He's only leading off with the possibility of somebody not being on base behind him one time a game.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. If that's how it works, and that's what you're gonna get the best out of him, then it is what it is. I would prefer to see them in the typical 4 or 5 spot, but it is what it is. I hate to say it that way, but it is what it is.
Don't fix what isn't broken, Al.
That's right. All right, guys. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. Go check out Get Process, the Sixers postgame show for the breakdown from all the guys on that. A lot coming up this week as usual. I think I might have been good enough to have it loaded up here, and here I am. There it is. There you go. Like I said, tomorrow night, you got Thursday, you got Locker Room Sports with Mike Lauro. Fly Like an Eagle podcast with Mitch Kofsky. I'll be on that, talking Eagles-Dallas with him. At the attacking third and clear the ice for the Flyers-Coyotes game, a little West Coast game. And then the rest of the weekend ahead of us, of course, Dallas on Sunday. We'll have all the full coverage for that as we move forward. On behalf of Joe and myself, thank you guys for listening, chiming in. All the people who are commenting along, sharing, and all that stuff. Hit those like buttons, subscribe buttons, follow buttons, retweets, whatever it is that you're doing this on. And I'm Big Al.
And I'm Joe Sheeran.
And we out.